What's going on, people? It's your man, the YB, back once again. Let's get this audio sorted out right now. That's what you best believe. What's going on, people? Sweet, we're live. Off the rip, big shout out to my doggies who came through last time and put your man, the YB, on with the coins. You best believe. Now, on to today's topics. El Poatan. Potan. Deadly. This cat deadly, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. I had him getting whooped in the first 2 rounds, though. And this is what I need to see. I ain't trying to make this about Fake Paul, but this is what I need to see. Pereira versus Fake Paul, man. Because Fake Paul can't box. He's no good. Yeah? He's no good. Pereira is so calm under pressure. He don't seem to have no qualms about the fade. And it made me start thinking about boxing. And even, to be honest, even that Rountree cat. Yeah? Boxers are soft, man. They're soft. Alex Pereira is no different to AJ in the sense that he got clipped by Izzy. And yet he still maintains true masculinity. He doesn't turn into a virgin. And even McTapper's a pussy, right? McTapper lost to Nate Diaz and then shit himself and only beat Nate Diaz on points. AJ shit himself against Ruiz and then only beats Ruiz on points. The Potan, he go in there, man. He red hot still, full of beans, high tea. Yeah, not no corny estrogenic low T punk shit, man. These boxers be wearing, they got coloured hair and shit. Long coloured soft hair, man. That's what they be rocking on the down low. Yeah, they be on their Kelly Maloney. But yeah, let's get cut to the actual. I'm trying to find. I couldn't find no real pictures of this fight versus Rountree. Yeah, this was a good shot. Yeah, man. The first 2 rounds. That Khalil is quick. He's got the twitch. He's got super twitch. Super. What would you call it? Super melanated twitch. That Usain Bolt. Bosh! Quick. His shots were short. And he won them two rounds. He put Pereira down as well. And this was the shot, I think, put him down. If that had been a knuckle wrap in there, who knows? It might have gone the other way. And that is what I like about the UFC. Number 1, everyone's got a chance. Number 2, fighters believe they have a chance. Khalil, there's an old saying, cardio makes mice of all men. That's what happened for me with Khalil. He's super explosive. Naturally, dudes who are super explosive, they fade. Inevitably. They fade, inevitably. So he had 2 rounds, he was winning. The Potan, though, he's not out and out explosive, but he's consistently devastating. He's as dangerous in the first round as he is in the 5th. Which means for most fighters who really are 2 or 3 round fighters, in the 4th and the 5th, that's your ass against Le Potan. Le Potan. You understand, people? But yeah, I like this guy, man. I got a lot of time for him as well. I don't get he's got enough kind of aura. He's got enough riz that I'm intrigued. He's not a boring ass champion like, let me think of someone. He's not a boring champion. Equally though, he's not McTapper. McTapper's a punk. He's good for nothing. He don't want to fight, man. McTapper's all talk. He's all talk and then his leg goes, or he don't want to fight no more, or he's politicking with Habib. Oh, it's only business. Oh, it's only business. It's only business, Habib. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Politicking, because you were scared of getting your ass beat properly. That's a corny ass dude. If I guarantee you this year, if El Potan starts getting smoked, he's not going to be in there politicking with dude. Oh, it's only business, dude. Please, dude, save me, dude. That's a corny, estrogenic Western way of doing things, man. These Western fighters are soft in the main. And then again, the UFC, if there's any hard Western fighters left, they're in the UFC. Yeah, this Khalil cat, he came to fight to the bitter end as well. Even when he had no cardio left, no eyesight left, no nose left, getting touched all over, and he was still just having a bit of a go. Yeah, slow as molasses he was in that last round, but he was having a go. Boxers don't do that, man. They don't. Boxers be looking for the corner. Yeah, AJ looking for the Ben Davison to throw the towel in, or even Daniel Dubois in previous fights, right? The Usyk fight, even on his knees. Daniel Dubois didn't get punched up like Khalil Rountree did. Danny just jump on his knees and look around the place. I don't know what, I can't understand. I don't know what. Why is the UFC attracting more committed fighters? In general, they seem to be harder men in the UFC. Boxing's becoming more like football, if I'm honest. That's the way it's trending to. Fury did not want to fight against Usyk. He did not. He running around scared to death. AJ not want to fight no one really, if he can help it. Do you understand? What is that? How come all these top guys... Crawford! He didn't really want to fight with Madrimov. He's scared in there. Now, there are some, of course. I'm not saying every single UFC fighter is bang on it. But on average, it's more a rarity that you see in a big fight. Two dudes just politicking. It happens. But it's quite rare. It's not the norm. Norm in boxing is there's going to be at least one and probably two people in a fight who don't want to fight. Madrimov versus Crawford. Neither man wanted to get stuck in. Or you're going to have it where there's one dude who makes a stinker of it. Like Shakur Sleepmanson, that don't want to fight. Yeah? Or can't punch for toffee, or he break his hand and everything. It didn't used to be like that. Boxing wasn't like that in the 90s or the 80s. You rarely saw a man, from what I remember, even the guys who were more boxy, they were spiteful with their outside shots. It wasn't like they weren't just touching around and it wasn't faffing and posturing like Crawford and Madrimov. They were spiteful on the outside, if that was their game. So I don't know what's going on with boxing, man. I don't know what's going on with it, but I'm not going to make out my massive UFC head. I only watch the big ones, and to be quite frank, at this point in time, who do I watch now in the UFC? Really, the POATAN, if I'm honest. El POATAN is the guy I'd be watching. He got the aura for me. He's humble enough, but he's got something about him as well. Sometimes some of these cats are too humble, and it's like, oh, you've turned me off kind of thing. He's got enough edge to him, but I can buy into what he's selling, ultimately. Yeah? He didn't get discouraged. He could have got clipped by Kyle, or whatever his name is, Rountree, in them early rounds like he did, and be like, oh no, I'm scared to fight now. I'm scared, I'm shook to death now to fight. No, he just carry on plugging on. Yeah? What's that saying they had back in the war times in the UK? It was kind of like, keep calm and carry on, plugging. That's the old school mentality. Yeah? You got the blitz going on, but you keep calm and you keep pushing on. These new age cats, oh no, a fight. Even I'm paid to fight, I don't really want to fight. Anyway, technically speaking, a solid UFC fight. No rolling around. I do think, really, Alex made it probably harder for himself. Because it was even in them early rounds when Khalil was explosive, his calf was halfway gone at that point. I didn't see... What's the word I'm looking for? I didn't see Alex really just, what do they call it, spamming the calf kick button. I think he could have spammed that more earlier on, if I'm honest. I'm not trying to think, I'm not an expert in UFC, but what's the counter to a calf kick? What do? You check it? Can you break? I don't know. I can tell you what the answer is, but from my perspective, it seems like quite a low risk shot, especially with a striker. It's not like he's going to grab your leg, so he should have been spamming the calf kick button more consistently. There was enough in there that it slowed his lead leg down, but he could have spammed it some more, I believe, because there was points, especially in the early rounds. But it could come down to the fact that he's just based and he's not in a rush. Yeah, he's happy playing with his food. You understand? He's not a panic striker like McGregor. McGregor's a panic striker. He's good throwing hands. The minute he gets, he chokes and starts. He's a panic wrestler. McGregor's a panic striker and a panic wrestler. McGregor's all calm until he gets popped in the mouth. Then he'll lose his head. Alex, he don't mind taking a few bangs. He doesn't change his disposition. He plugs through. And if you watch his face, he don't have much damage on his face. No damage. The other guy's bust up. And he's not breathing heavy either. He's not blowing out of his arse. It's extremely... What we're seeing here, people talked about... McGregor really was the first time I started hearing about flow state. McGregor's no good. McGregor had no cardio, never. And really never won a hard fight. Whenever McGregor was in a hard fight... Who'd he beat in a hard fight? Max Holloway, apparently. I think that was quite a tough one at the time. He never won no tough. Oh no, Chad Mendes was half tough, but Mini Mendes. Mini Mendes is 4 foot tall, people. What are you doing going life and death with Mini Mendes? So, the point I'm making, McGregor got a lot of hype about being in flow state. He wasn't really in flow state. He was in on top state. He looks great on top. The minute things don't start working out, all that magicalness is no good. The difference here is El Poatan, he can come from behind. Pause. He can maintain his composure and have the confidence to know I'm going to get you at some point. You're either going to knock me out and I'm knocked out anyway, like Izzy did, or I'm going to catch up with you. He seems poised to the nth degree. But yeah, fair play to Khalil. He certainly travels to Warriors Paradise. From what I've seen, I haven't watched them all, but I think Khalil really gave on the feet for them first 2 rounds at least. He's given El Poatan the best work I've seen. It's short, and that's the problem with these explosive cats, man. It's too quick. You just don't have time. And even Pereira's great on his feet in terms of the way he slides in and out of range. But that's when that twitch gets you, man. The twitch is the twitch. It just don't matter. That guy was too much fast twitch fibers, man. Yeah, too much type 2 fibers in him. Just off. Too much ping. So it shows, even with great footwork, I guess you can argue Pereira's his defense is a bit leaky. But it has to be to some extent. When you're doing the mixed martial arts thing, Rountree had pretty tight hands in that sense, hands up, but when you're in this game where you got to stop takedowns and you got to catch kicks, I don't know, it makes more sense to be looser. But Alex could definitely do with putting his chin down. He boxes quite neutral. I'd just stick my chin down like this, especially being a taller guy. It's not like you're going to be uppercutted. If you're a small guy and you come in with your head stuck to your chest, you can get all sorts, kneed and whatever else, but Alex ain't going to get kneed or uppercutted, so he might as well stick his chin down and then be a bit looser with his hands. At least he's got some protection. I remember the Izzy fight. He gets caught with his neck extended, so it's all beak wide open. But apart from that, he knows what he's doing, man. That's the bottom line. It's very rarely, I'd say. Although he did get caught, didn't he? He did get caught. It's UFC, man. Them little gloves, it don't really matter, to be quite frank. You can see Khalil towards the end of the fight. He's got his hands up. It don't matter with them. There's no when you got your hands like this, there's no coverage in the UFC. You can put your hands here, and then they got the hole outside. They can drill you down the middle. I guess there's an argument. What's the point? What's the point putting your hands up when they're going to drill your head anyway? It's better than nothing, though, they'd argue. It's got to be better than nothing. I don't know. That's the only thing I'd like to see Pereira do more. He does tend to... he tends to lean back and pull back, which is fine in some circumstances. It wouldn't have been fine, right? If this punch had landed instead of his wrist, it wouldn't have been fine. But at times I'd like to see him. I don't really remember ever in his career, from what I've seen, him actually tucking up. He prefers to keep it loose so he can counter or whatever else, and that works until it doesn't. Then again, being stiffer, that might not work much better for him. You just don't. It's a trade-off. The stiffer you are, the more your hands are tight. It's in boxing. The more your hands are tight, you lose fluidity. You can't bounce around and you can't react, and you're more predictable. It's hard to fight someone with hands who are more loose and you don't know where the angle's coming from. And you can ping off different shots rapidly. When you're firing shots from here, they come from the same place every time. You know if someone's hand drops from their head down to their waist, they're throwing an uppercut. That makes sense. From your midsection or from your chest level, where Alex holds them, you can whip the uppercut in. I don't know. You don't have as much time to react, in my opinion. Anyway, what's next for El Poatan? In my opinion, he talked about how he wants some rest. He deserves that, man. This guy, again, his mentality. Muktapa, at the start, when he was winning, he was okay. But when he started losing, that's when you see the year breaks and the 6-month breaks and whatever else. So, Alex is red hot. He's older, though. He's 38 years old. I think he fought in June? How many months? July? End of June, yeah? July, August. So basically 3 months ago he fought. Crazy. He's not taking no damage though. But he did say after this fight he wants to take some rest that he hasn't had. But then he talked about going down and having a go on Dracus. I don't like Dracus, man. I thought Dracus lost to... let me have a look at his resume. I think it was Sean Strickland. Dracus Duplessis. I don't know. There's something about... Duplessis for me, he's just a bit straight up and down. He's straight up and down. He's not got no... That's what I was talking about. He tries to talk big. I feel like he wants to be a big name, but he's not. He reminds me, to be honest, a bit like... what's the guy's name? Michael Chandler. It's kind of that kind of shtick. Duplessis talks more, but it's that same... Something's missing there for me. I don't rate him. He's like a jack of all trades as well. What does Dracus do well? What does Dracus have aura in? Yeah? Where is he risen up opponents? I don't know. Again, listen, I haven't watched this guy I ain't gonna listen, people. I ain't watched this guy for toffee. He lost to Strickland now. That's what we do know for a fact. Did I watch this here? Submitting that Izzy? I think Izzy's finished, to be honest. But he lost to... Even listen, he lost to Strickland, bottom line. And Strickland... El Poatan said Strickland, he wants another go on this guy. I don't rate him. I don't rate him. I think it was that the fight where he didn't come to fight, where he was nervous and didn't want to engage. I'm not sure. Couldn't tell you. He's not that Whittaker though. Yeah, he's, I mean, jack of all trades. There's nothing that's red hot. You can sit here and say Izzy or El Potan striking's red hot, right? Or you can say Habib's wrestling's red hot. Or you can say some other dude, BJJ's red hot. Duplessis is just like a 7 and everything. Not my thing. That said, I assume he can wrestle better than El Potan. That's what I'd assume. He wrestles better than El Potan. I don't want to watch that, man. I don't want to watch some wrestling dude in there hanging on Potan's leg. So I don't want to watch that, man. But Potan wants it, though. He wants it. Equally, Potan also said, I'm happy at light heavyweight. And I think he should stay there. I'm not even... Who's knocking around at light heavyweight these times? I'm not sure. You'd have to have a look at There was some Nick in the crowd talking some... I never heard of him a day in my life. And YB, you don't watch UFC. That's exactly the point. I'd have heard of him if he was someone. There's a bunch of bums in a lot of these divisions now. It's not like... I think UFC peaked like probably 5 years ago. There's a lot of randoms hanging around now. There's a lot of randoms who have been beat a whole bunch and maybe... I don't know. Let's have a look. Light heavyweight. UFC light heavyweight rankings. The other story was El Poatan talked about going to heavyweight for Johnny Bones. And someone made a great comment, actually. I think it was McTapper. Or someone made a comment saying, assuming Jones beats Stipe, if Jones retires and doesn't fight Aspinall, El Poatan. Because to be honest, El Poatan, yeah, I don't know how he's making 185. I don't know how, because he's lean, yeah. He looks skinny and somewhat malnourished, especially when he's cutting weight. He looks malnourished going at 205. I don't know how he's making 185. 6'4". His legs got skinny legs. His midsection's quite skinny, and he looks sucked in at 205. So he really, the problem is the heavyweights. What Aspinall? Let's see how much Aspinall weighs. Let me just check actually. Aspinall's probably 250, ain't he? I'd guess. Aspinall's 250. Well, I don't want to see pound for pound. I want to see light heavyweight. Light heavyweight. Here we go. Yeah, these are no good. That was the guy in the thing. That was the guy. See what I mean? Jamal Hill was in there. He lost. So get him out of here. Light heavyweight's washed up, man. Light heavyweight is washed up. There's no point hanging around there unless El Poatan just wants to go on a run. But I feel at 38 years old, there's no point going on a run at this point. You cash out. Aspinall fight's big. Probably in the UK, or could be Vegas. That's big. The Johnny Bones fight. Dana might even make. Oh, no, he can't do that. I was about to say, if John Jones wins, he might fight El Poatan instead of Aspinall. But there's no way. Aspinall is the interim champion. But if Jones beats Aspinall, as I expect, Johnny Bones, he may hang around for El Poatan. That's another massive fight. They're probably about the same size commercially. Maybe El Poatan even bigger, to be honest, because of the South American following. UK is quite a small country, but them Spanish speakers, man, they're everywhere. So yeah, that's what I want to see from him, really. Go up to heavyweight now. Maybe get a little taste of something. What could he get a taste of? You know what? What might be a good idea, you know? Aspinall's crying out. Dana White should speak to John Jones and say to him, hey, listen, are you going to fight Aspinall if you beat Miocic? If not, let me know. So I can make... I think John Jones versus Stipe is supposed to be in November, so it's not long now to find this all out. But they could make, in the interim, Aspinall versus El Poatan. Aspinall versus El Poatan. Bosh! It's like a little eliminator fight. Because the only thing for me that's missing from Aspinall, he don't have no name on there, man. They're bums. I hate to break it to you, man. Aspinall is solid, but they're all bums. None of these cats have any clout. They're B-level. They are the B-level. There's no pound for pounders on here. If you knock out Poatan, then now we're talking, right? If Tom Aspinall can spark out heavyweight El Poatan, he can punch. He can strike. The problem is, Curtis Blades is a wrestler. These guys are B, C-level wrestlers, man. They're not even like Habib type wrestlers. These are B, C-level wrestlers. That's what they are, realistically here. Yeah, B, C-level wrestlers. That's no good, man. He deserves the John Jones fight, and I hope he gets it. My base hope would be John Jones fight Aspinall. But if he don't, Poatan, get these bums out of there. Forget about the rest of the bums at heavyweight. Poatan versus Aspinall for the real title. I guess if John Jones retires, Aspinall will be upgraded. Either way, though, that's what we need to see. Aspinall versus El Poatan. So it's a win-win for Aspinall. He either gets Jones or he gets El Poatan. Who would I back in that fight? There's something about Aspinall. I'd have to go with El Poatan, to be honest. I think I'm not convinced. Potan's leaky though. Listen, I'll be honest. It's a 50-50 fight. That's a 50-50 fight in my opinion. Poatan is leaky. And Aspinall clearly can strike a bit. He just don't... Let me have a look. Let me watch a bit of him actually. From what I remember watching, which isn't much, he seems... Listen, he finds the punches in the right places, but it don't seem magical. But I need to watch it, to be fair. I need to watch some of it. Oh. Wow. This is what happens, people, when you got too many tabs open, for real. Yeah, I mean, I can tell you now, I'm just watching this here. This reminds me of... Tom Aspinall feels like a good all-rounder. Yeah, he's catching a lot of these guys, but it's not... He reminds me of a wrestler with an overhand, if I'm honest. But he does find it. He finds the shot. I'm just not sure. These guys ain't no good, man. All due respect, they're no good. They're not Poatan striking. They're like... These are all wrestlers, essentially. So for me, Tom Aspinall was the best of the wrestlers. That's how I feel, if I'm honest. Like he's run. Look, watch this bit here. Watch. He runs with his beak in the air. Watch. Look at him running with his beak in the air, pulling ballets. Yeah, that's how wrestlers come in. Watch again. He's running in like... Let me find the actual clip so you can see what I mean. Because in the UFC, there is a lot of wrestlers here who can strike a bit. That's just what it is. But they are ultimately wrestlers. That's the vibe I had. Listen, I'm not biased. That's how I felt about Aspinall. And I've looked at the evidence, and that's what it reminds me of. A wrestler. Look at this guy here. This must be it straight off the bat. Look at this cat here. What is going on with the lag, man? Super duper lagging right now. Wow. My system overloading right now, folks. System super duper duper overloading. Was that the one I watched a minute ago? Not even sure now. Nah, this internet's wild, folks. Don't ever use hyper optic, man. They're crap. They're cheap, yeah, which is obviously what I did. Super cheap, but they're rubbish, man. Although it might actually be the PC, to be fair. The PC bugging, man. Playback speed. Oh, you're not abundance, man. The point is, you can watch Aspinall striking. I'm not massively I'm not massively impressed with Aspinall, is all I'm saying. I want to see him fight POATAN, if I'm honest. And I think Johnny Bones, he's obviously... Aspinall's better than most. He's interim world champion. He deserves that for who he's beat. You can't beat... Essentially, he's unbeaten as well. Or certainly in the last little run. He might even be unbeaten. Because I know he lost to Curtis Blades, but that was an injury. So he can't be useless, can he? He might end up being one of them guys who can just put it together. But it reminds me to some extent... Not in the same way, but remember when Darren Till was coming up? Darren Till was the baddest thing on earth. And then it's kind of like a Woodley. Again, Aspinall has a better all-round game than Darren Till. But the same principle. Yeah? A lot of this hype comes. They get in there with someone. At the time, Woodley was pound for pound. Really though, Woodley never had pound for pound skills like that, man. Pound for pound, for me, is an elite type of place. We're talking about Habib, John Jones. Who else you got? Makachev. Yeah? Outside of that, to be honest, those are pound for pound skills there. Woodley, a wrestler with overhand. Yeah? Solid wrestler with an overhand. Darren Till smoking. Aspinall is a better version of Darren Till until we see otherwise. I need to see him knock POATAN Spark out. Which is possible. I'm not going to lie. It's 50-50 at heavyweight. But we need to see something like that. So he needs to take out someone. Right now, Alex Pereira is on the pound for pound. No one else Aspinall's beat on a pound for pound. So that's what needs to happen right now. Anyway, let's move on to... in fact, I'll peep some of the comments first. Ben Miles said Pereira's at light heavy. Yeah, he's at light heavy, but they've been talking about the John Jones fight. Aspinall will murk Pereira. Aspinall, you man are a whole bunch of homosexual. Aspinall homosexuals on this channel right now. Sean beat I thought Sean beat Drakus. Anyway, let's move on now to Nick Bull. Your system needs baby oil. Yeah, man. Did he need to come put my system on, man? It's bugging. So, let's find, who was it? This was another, more of an industry fight here, but it happened at the weekend, and I didn't even watch the whole lot of it. I watched the highlights. Who was it again? Nick Bull versus Ronnie Rios. And to be fair, this has... Only reason I'm really interested in Nick Bull right now, and if you followed the build-up for this fight, the highlights are on YouTube. You should watch them. It's worth watching. This guy is like the mini Mike Tyson, essentially. He cuts angles. When he's got an opponent against the ropes, he cuts an angle, whips the hook in, or whips the uppercut in. He's solid. He does get hit sometimes, though. Whenever he does this moody shoulder roll guard, he comes in with a low lead hand. It gets popped right down the middle. And it happened in the last fight against Raymond Ford as well. His best when his hands are stuck here. I guess the thing is, he has massive output. He whacks, and it's tiring. So when he starts getting a bit tired, he starts dropping his lead hand, and that's when he gets popped in his mouth. Anywho, the reason it's relevant is they're talking about, even before the fight, they were questioning Nick Bull because apparently Inouye's fixing to move up. I believe Nick Bull's at 126 and Inouye's at 122. So they're talking about moving him up. That's what needs to happen now. I don't want to see Inouye fight no more bums at 180, man. Because whatever you say about Nick Bull, watch the highlights on YouTube now. Type in Nick Bull versus Ronnie Rios highlights. Watch them highlights. This will be the best guy Inouye's ever fought by miles. I don't want to hear about that guy they keep talking about. What's his name? They always bring him up. Nonito Donaire. He's alright. He's alright. Nonito Donaire's alright. But he's still one of them small dudes, essentially. Yeah? He's alright. He's alright. Yeah? Nick Bull, big, strong, and fight. And that's what we want to see, really. No one's been in there with Inouye who can fight. That guy, people, listen to me now. That dude, yeah, Luis Neri, he couldn't really squabble like that. He didn't have a good inside game. He wasn't able to lay it on thick. He was just wilding with it, and he popped Inouye's cherry and put him down for the first time in his career. Nick Bull is actually proficient at pressure fighting. See the difference there? He's not just a brawler. Nick Bull's not just swinging around the place, loose as a goose, looking for a lucky punch. He can actually proficiently pressure fight. And I'm telling you now for free, Inouye's never fought someone like Nick Bull. So for all this power talk, I guarantee you now, Inouye will not knock Nick Bull out. That's my base case, and I'll bet on that as well. Because all the Inouye mid-sections will come in, and because Nick Bull isn't necessarily a big name, I reckon Inouye will go in favourite, and the odds of the fight going the distance. I'm not saying Nick Bull beats Inouye. We need to see it though. I need to see Inouye fight someone decent, man. Because he ain't got... No one's even close to Nick Bull on his resume. No one's even close, man. They're all bums on there. They're all bums. Really, seriously, man. At the bottom line, they're all bums. They're all no good. They're all scared to death. They're all no good. That's how I feel about Inouye's resume. There's no one... Name one other guy, yeah, who stands test time. Name one other guy you can say, yeah, man, this guy is solid. They're all kind of soft and low T. I mean, they're 5'5" tall. 5'2" tall. So they're going to be low T. Do you understand? But Nick Bull put on his cap, man. Nick Bull put it all over Inouye. Who do I have winning that fight? It's 50-50, if I'm honest. Inouye's good when you give him time. Inouye's good at... Listen, Inouye's well-rounded. He reminds me a bit of like Bival, but who can punch. He's well-rounded, and he can punch. But one thing we know for sure, if you go in there like Stephen Fulton, and give this corny-ass... Give Inouye, a whole bunch of time to just get something off, you fish food. Yeah? Look at what Triple G did to all them people. And then Canelo goes in there in the second fight and then holds his feet and meets him in the centre of the ring, and Triple G looked pretty average. If that makes sense. So you don't run around and... listen, Stephen Fulton, he can't punch. Even if he stood with Inouye, it would make no difference. He's getting knocked out quicker, to be fair. He's no good. Fulton's no good. That's what I don't like about these little weights when they talk about, two-time champion. It don't mean nothing. Or unified champion is bull. I think Fulton was unified champion, but it means nothing. It really does mean nothing at them little weights. It means not even nothing. And even in the bigger weights, people like Billy Joe were nicking belts, taking belts, right? It didn't mean nothing. So there's a lot... because there's so many belts, a lot of people have belts or they're unified champion and no one knows and they're no good. But Nick Bull, he won that last belt and got robbed. I had Raymond Ford beating him, but it was a close fight. And Raymond Ford can fight. He can box and he can fight. He with it, man. I rate Raymond Ford. The first fight I watched of his, but that's solid. He's the only guy really who's been able to tangle with Nick Bull. So the point I'm making is Nick Bull's proven now. He got robbed in a fight a little while ago for a belt, so he should have had that. And he just beat Raymond Ford for a belt. He's got 2 belts. He's a genuine unified champion. People, listen. Raymond Ford, who Nick Bull beat. Raymond Ford is a man who you can look at, who has pound for pound skills. Fact. Watch that fight. He's a pound for pound type dude. He's not there now, but I'm saying his base there. Nonito was in there. He never had pound for pound skills like that. He did not have pound for pound skills like that. And Nick Bull beat him. Inoue. Nick Bull's beat 1, maybe 2 people who are legitimate. Certainly the Raymond Ford fight. I didn't watch the other one where he got robbed, but the Raymond Ford fight, Nick Bull's with it, man. Especially in them early rounds. Them early rounds, he was giving Raymond Ford the work. It was only when Nick, that's the only probably downside about Nick. He's explosive, he has high work rate, but he does get tired. In fact, in that Raymond Ford fight, and the reason for me I had him losing that fight, close though, it could have gone either way, it wasn't a robbery, but the reason I had Nick Bull losing that fight is because he was clinching towards the end. That's just my personal opinion. I don't like seeing, especially a pressure fighter. When a pressure fighter, normally they're the ones not wanting to clinch. But when a pressure fighter starts clinching, it tells me, oh man, you finished. But then again, even after clinching a few times and kind of holding on, he'd come back and put another burst in. So yeah, he probably won the fight. But anyway, that's what needs to happen now. There are other opportunities for Nick Bull. We can unify and whatnot. And maybe that will... Listen, no one's saying the Inoue fight's going to happen next. But listen. Prince Turkey. Yeah. Prince Turkey once he gets... And there's some... Well, listen. There's no bigger fight for Nick Bull than Inoue. There's no bigger fight for Inoue than Nick Bull. Who's Inoue gonna fight? Unless they bring Bam Bam up. If they bring Bam Rodriguez up, it's possible. But I think Bam's at 115 or something. 118 even. I'm not sure. That's what need to happen though. Those are the conversations we need to be having. Right now. No more bums at 122 for Inoue. Because who's at 122? Who's at 122? Boxing rankings. Let's have a look at the 122 pound list. Wow, that's no good by weight. I got no idea what these weights are called either. I'm just guessing right now. 126 pounds. Nick Bull. Okay, look. So this is 126. I think Nick Bull beat Ray Vargas before. That's the belt that he should have as well. Angelo Leo, Rafael Espinoza. Never heard of them. They might be alright, but never heard of them. No one wants to realistically, no one wants these ones, man. We want to see Nick Bull versus Inoue. So Inoue is undisputed at 122. What's he doing there now for? Just people, don't blame me, yeah? Look at the cats on this thing here. Alan Picasso, Merjon. Come on, people. Never heard of them. Sam Goodman. No good. No good. This cat sound dangerous, though. This might be one of Khabib's heads. Let's see what Khabib's cousin up to. What's he with? He can punch a bit as well. Uzbekistan. Okay, he's lost already, though. He's got washed before, so forget about him as well. Unfortunately, people, this is what I'm trying to tell you, man. There's no pound for pound skills. Literally, you've got Bam and Inoue. And then the rest is just a waste of time even talking about it, to be honest. So we got this cat now, Inoue. You're undisputed at 122. There's no point. There's no sign. You're still stopping people at 122. So there's no point now hanging around and fighting all these bums with no name. Right? They're literally bums in here. No names at all. This next weight one up, Nick Bull there. He's not going to go. He'll never go to 130. I wouldn't have thought. 130 they're just too big. I'd back Kachi to smoke him as well, to be honest. Gachi too big, too strong for Inoue. Who knows though? Listen, if Inoue knocks out Nick Bull, he'll be the hardest. I'll tell you this for free right now. If Inoue knocks out Nick Bull, I'll tell you right now for free, he's the biggest punching dude ever on this planet. If he knocks Nick Bull's spark out or at all, if he stops Nick Bull, he's the biggest punching dude I've ever seen in my life. Because you ain't knocking out Nick Bull like that. His chin's like Canelo's, I believe. That's how I feel about Nick Bull's chin. He don't have a punky chin. He's got little neck, Canelo type of chin. Little neck, sawn off. You ain't knocking him out unless you're like got some ungodly power. Some ungodly samurai power. Yeah? So stop playing now. Stop playing with these bummy fights, man. Oh, you knew he's fighting some bum of the month kind of campaign. Forget about it now. Nick Bull. That's what Inoue should want for his legacy, I believe. Not that Nick Bull's the second coming of Muhammad Ali in terms of clout, but come on now. You ain't knocking out Nick Bull for nothing. Right? Or you have to be really that good to knock Nick Bull out. And I look at Inoue's resume, there's no one on there that I sit there and say, I can see how you never... Well, I can justify how he knocked out all the people on his resume so far. Because they was all soft and no good. This one, though, I can't justify. I think that fight goes to points. I'd bet on that fight going to points. I just would. Finally, I want to look at the height of them too. Because if they're both the same height, there's no reason. Inoue is not skinny. He's not like super lean and lanky. So if Nick Bull was quite small though and sawn off, he is quite dense. Chode. I want to look at his height. Nick Bull. Nick Ball. He is 5'2". Wow. Manlet extreme. Inoue. I think Inoue might be taller for some reason. I think Inoue might be 5'4", you know. Oh my god, Inoue's 5'5", people. Inoue is 5'5" and 68-inch reach. Nick Bull is 5'2" and well, there's no reach on here. The point is, there's no excuse for Inoue not to fight him. He's still going to have two inches of reach, 2 inches of height, sorry. And Inoue's got pretty... If you look at Inoue's legs, he don't have chicken legs. He can definitely grow some more. He's not a lean, lanky dude. Sorry, he's not like a small... It's clearly not that small, bottom line. Nick is particularly dense, though. Still, there's no excuse for Inoue not to go up. I don't think he will be scared to go up there. And Frank Warren, make that fight happen, man. We don't want no more of these random ass cats Inoue be fighting. That's what we don't want. Turkey, man, make this fight, man. Because I'll be gassed for this one. This is the one I'll give Inoue a lot of credit for this one. Because so far, I'm not... Donnie, these guys are like 50 years old, people. They are. This cat here is 50 years old. 37. You tell me what an undisputed champion is doing fighting this dude here. You tell me what... He's got no business. 5 losses. What are we doing that for? This is what I'm trying to tell you about Inoue's resume. It's filled with them type of ones there, the filler ones. It's filled with these Marlon Taples type cats. He's been knocked out 3 times. And that was before Inoue even had a go on him. The whole Bagger Man had a go on this cat already. Been knocked him out. It's like, come on, bro. Everyone's sucking Inoue off. This is the problem. They've all been knocked out 10 times before. They all was no good even when before they got knocked out. It's not like they went on a run of beating Floyd Mayweather and then got knocked out. They was no good anyway. So you have to be skeptical of Inoue's resume. And it depends on the odds. If Nick Bull was like a 4-1 underdog or a 3-1 underdog, I'm backing him to win this fight. If it's 50-50, which I believe it probably is, because I think that Inoue, we'll find out how much he can punch. But if it's 50-50, I wouldn't bet on it. But if Nick Bull is a big underdog, as I expect he would be, I'm going all in on Nick. Not all in, but I'm put some coin on Nick because I'm sceptical of Inoue. We've seen him down already. Nick Ball never been down, as far as I'm aware. Inoue's been down, man. He's been down by some loosey-goosey Lewis Neri, who's leaky with it. Leaky-deaky with it. I'm just swinging around. Big Nick tight, man. He got them short hooks, right? If you get caught by loosey-goosey Lewis Neri, Nick Ball, bosh. He just come in there, start working you. That's what we need to see now. Let's test. Let's give Inoue the first test of his career. The only test that matters. All them other bums, them 2 belt bums like Stephen Fulton, forget about them. They're no good. They're no good. Seriously, they're no good. That's a good point there. Someone said, I think TJ Doney had a blown out back here, and he still lasted 7 rounds. So this dude's back was blown out. Wait a minute. One judge had Inoue only winning by 1 round. So it must have been 6 rounds of boxed. No, was it 6 rounds? I'm not sure. 7 rounds of boxed? No, it must be 6 rounds of boxed. They had 6 rounds completed. Was it? What is it saying 7 rounds for then? Yeah, sorry. They had 6 rounds completed. And one judge had it. Doney must have won, 4 rounds? How do you do that then? After 6 rounds, how do you have 58, 56? I'm not sure. The point is, what is the point I'm making here? That means Inoue's lost, yeah, so it should be 60. If Inoue won every round after 6 rounds, he'd have a 60 here, and that guy would be 54. So he must have won 2 rounds. Listen, if 50 million year old TJ Dohoney with a broken, blown out back can win 2 rounds against Inoue, and Neri can put him down, and Fulton went 8 rounds, and Paul Butler went 11 rounds, and Marlon Taples went 10 rounds. If these bums can go 10 rounds, there's no way Inoue stopping Nick Ball. I'm telling you right now, and I'll back Nick Ball to beat his ass as well. If I'm honest, too much. These are all bums. These little dudes, they look good. It's like Rigondeaux. Rigondeaux looked really good. He fought Lomachenko and quit. That's what happened with little dudes. They look really dangerous and really hard punching. Oops. Lewis Neri get in there, put him straight on his backside. I respect Inoue. He's not a punk. He didn't cry about it and it didn't break him. But the fact of the matter is, these are all bums on your resume, man. People keep banging on about Nito Donaire just because he was the only one to go the distance. Nonito ain't like that, man. And again, look at this, people. Nonito, at the time of fighting Inoue, had lost 5 times already. This is the big guy they all suck off. Oh my god, he knocked out YB. Inoue has a pound for pound resume because he knocked out Nonito Donaire. Nonito had lost 5 times already. How many more times do you need to lose to not be rated like that anymore? This guy wasn't... how old was he as well? He must be old, man. This guy must be old as well. Nonito Donaire... age. Oh my god, he's 41! He's 41 million years old! And even when Inoue fought him the first time in 2019, which would make him, let's call it 5 years ago, for example. So no, wait a minute. Nonito is 42 in November. Nonito is 42 in November. So Nonito is essentially 42 now. 5 years ago, that would have made him 37 million year old. And then he fought Nonito Donaire 2 years ago when he was 40 and stopped him. This is the man you guys stuck off, man. You blow smoke up his ass because he knocked out a whole bunch of 40-year-old people who've been beat 5 times before they even got to him. Who are these guys here? Look. Okay, Carl Frampton had a goal on Nonito. Jesse Magdaleno, okay. Nicholas Walters knocked him out. This is your claim to fame. A 40-year-old man who'd been knocked out before and half anyone decent. Carl Frampton was decent, but anyone decent had a goal on Nonito Donaire. And Inoue knocks him out when he's 40, 55 trillion year old. And now he is the big thing. Come on, bro. Nick Ball smoked his ass. I'm putting out it right now. Nick Ball smoked this guy ass, in my opinion. Nick Ball wants to fight. That's the other thing. You lot ain't factoring in for here. Lewis Neri came to fight and clipped him. But Lewis Neri was, you could tell, boxers, listen, Inoue's been boxing 20 million years himself. They can read the signs, my point. Inoue knows when someone's just trying to throw Hail Marys. Watch that fight. Lewis Neri is just swinging from his ankles. So it's cute. For someone like Inoue, who has decent skill, pound-for-pound skills, allegedly, it's cute when you're looking at the floor and swinging around. He can get engaged. It's a whole different ball game when you've got Nick Ball in there who can actually proficiently fight on the inside and proficiently pressure fight. It's a whole different ball game. It's not as fun anymore. Yeah? When dudes are brawling and just swinging, looking at the floor and swinging, that might be exciting. It's a whole different... When you start getting whacked in the head and you're actually in a fight, which I believe Nick Ball will actually bring a real fight to him. Inoue's never been in a real fight in his life. I'm not saying he's a punk. He might come through it with flying colours. The point is, we've never seen Inoue in a real fight where he's taking shots and giving shots consistently. Every single Inoue fight, everyone's shitting themselves, running backwards, scared to death. He hasn't been in a fight yet, and you don't know how someone reacts until they got someone in there to fight. And Nick Ball being there to fight. We know what he does. He's straight up and down in that sense. Straight up and down Nick Ball is. He gets straight on your ass and put it on you. And work you. Then we'll find out about this pound. At this point, I gotta be honest. At this point, I'd take Inoue out of the pound for pound rankings because until he knocks out Nick Ball or butchers Nick Ball, what's he pound for pound of? Bums and old men, the old people's home. He is pound for pound number one. Public enemy, old age pensioner enemy number one. That's what this guy is, man. If you're 37 years old and your back's gone out like TJ Dohoney, then he dangerous for you. Or if you're 40-year-old like Nonito Donaire and been washed up 5 times already, then he dangerous. Paul Butler, 11 rounds, and he fights Paul Butler again, I think. Where is it? Paul Butler. So yeah, man, I'm not trying to roast Inoue, but you're delusional and you're a fangirl if you think it's 100% legit. Fulton can't punch to save his life. Yeah? Cannot punch at all. At all. And even the people, the quality of these guys, it's not high, man. It's not high. These little guys, their quality is low. It's low. Super low. And Fulton showed that. He's supposed to be all slick and shit, man. He no good. Anyway, beat the black off this guy. That's what happened to him. I'm going to tell you what happened to him, man. He beat the black off his Nick Ball giving the smoke. Nick Ball giving away the smoke, though. I'm telling you now for free. Free of charge, folks. Someone said, Donaire wasn't no bum, but Inoue wins over him. Yeah, I'm not saying Donaire's a bum. He's not a bum. But at 40 years old, and you've been beat 5 times, it's not the undefeated unified champion type shtick. Nonito Donaire might have had a belt at that time, but it's not. I don't get them vibes. Nick Ball will be the first one for me where I get the vibes of, oh, this is a real fight. I've looked into Inoue's fights before. I've never felt like, oh, this is a real fight. Even when with Fulton has the alleged kind of skills and whatnot, but it's not going to be a fight, is it? It's going to be a case of, oh, any second now, and dude's going to get clipped, and that's what happened. Daniel Crawford said Inoue too slick with it. Yeah, he is until the shots start flying, though. He wasn't slick enough with it with Lewis Neri bowling from the floor. If that makes sense. He wasn't that slick because Lewis Neri ain't primo like that. Nonito Donaire got his cherry popped by Rigo. So there you go then. And Rigondeaux was okay. He got punched up though and quit against Lomachenko. Someone said Nick Ball is trash. Come on, bro. Nick Ball, people. If you think... I'm not saying Nick Ball's a second coming of Muhammad Ali. But... you tell me someone on Inoue's record who's more solid. Fulton, another PBC bum slayer. He's no good, man. He's no good. Tank is fighting in Houston next, where I live. Zero thought, yeah, the Tank. Oh man, Tank. He is a bum slayer, man. Because to be fair to Inoue, it's not Inoue's fault. He's clearly talented in weight divisions where there's just no talent. That's just what it is. It's not his fault. He's getting all the belts and beating the best around. The best around, though, is just shocking. But Tank Davis, he just wants to... He's never been undisputed. He's never tried to be undisputed. I'm not even sure he has a belt. I think he has a WBA regular or some schmucky-ish like that. And now he's fighting a dude from a smaller weight division. He has something... He's scared to death to fight someone his own size. He didn't want to fight Ryan Garcia his own size. He had to weight train him. And what are you talking about? Rolando Romero. Come on now. Rolly Romero, he no good. TJ Dohoney lost to Baluta, but I don't even know who that is. That's what I'm saying. I don't even know who it is. Nick Ball had a draw versus Vargas. Need we say more? He won that fight, though. He won that fight. And listen, all I'm saying about Nick Ball is he's got a solid chin. And he can fight. If Inoue knocks Nick Ball out, I'll give him all his flowers. I'll give him all his flowers if he can knock Nick Ball out. Because that's, for me, that's a guy undefeated. Is he undefeated? I swear he's undefeated. I think Nick Ball is undefeated. Nick. Yeah, Nick Ball's undefeated. You can say he lost to Vargas, but the reality is he won that and got robbed. He's undefeated and he can fight and will come to fight. There ain't no undefeated people on Inoue's record, man. And if they are, they're completely trash. They're complete trash, man. There's no one on there who's legit. Not at all. There's just not. Whoa. Isaac Dogbo. I remember when Isaac Dogbo was knocking it about. He was supposed to be a big deal like 5 years ago. He was. 10 years ago. He was supposed to be the next big one. Frank Warren's big one. Big dog. Remember when he was coming up, it was meant to be like, whoa, he's smoking everyone. Anyway, let's finally talk about the fight of the century, folks. This, for me, I believe, Betev versus Bival. I'm going to have to, in fact, I should probably do a video on it on its own, to be honest, but I'll give you a quick rundown right now. Betev Bival. In fact, let's get the odds up. This is a 50-50, folks. I'll put some bread up for real. What am I looking for? I'm looking for... I don't like this one. I don't want Sportsbook. I want Exchange. Boxing. Bosh. Here we go. Beterbiev. See, Beterbiev's a slight underdog. I put $30 on already. $30 on Beterbiev to win. I also put another tenner, I think, or another couple of... Was it 20 quid? I don't know. I put some in. 6-1. Beterbiev on points. I think Bival's too cute. Bival's defense is solid. His footwork's solid. And his chin's solid. I don't... It's going to be similar to the Vosdik fight. I think Bival's better than Vosdik was, though. That makes sense. And Vosdik made it 11-12 rounds before he got stopped. Bival will do enough not to get stopped. Particularly when you consider Beterbiev's getting older, although we haven't seen his performances drop off. Who was Beterbiev's last win, actually? Was it Callum Smith? It probably was, actually, in January. Callum Smith in January. They were supposed to fight in June, but he got injured. He must be 40-year-old now, though. 40 years old. Long in the tooth. But that Callum Smith fight was solid. And that was the best ever Callum Smith, they said. Yeah, Callum Smith was weight drained his whole life at 168. He goes to 175, full of knocking everyone out. And Beterbiev still red hot. It's been another year, though, since then now, essentially. So he's another year older. At some point, you assume we're going to see the fall off, or he's going to certainly pull back. Wait a minute, how have these judges got it? This one judge has it where... Okay, one judge after 6 rounds has Beterbiev losing 2 rounds. It's 4-2. Whatever. The fact of the matter is, people, Beterbiev can punch. Although, he's slower than Bival. It's a great, honestly, it's a great fight. I'm happy either way here. If I lose money on Beterbiev, I'm just taking the odds though. Yeah, that's 6-1 on Beterbiev on points. That's where the value is. If you have to gamble somewhere. Obviously the homosexuals are saying, oh, Beterbiev's going to knock him out. Come on now. There's no one on Beterbiev's resume that's like Bival. Look what Bival did to Carrot Top. And you can say, oh, Carrot Top's too small. He ain't small punking everyone else. He wasn't small when he knocked Kovalev ass spark out. He wasn't small when he knocked out all the other, or punch up all the other bums at 168. So, 7 pounds. Bival is bigger, but that's not what got his ass whooped, man. And besides, Bival said to Carrot Top, I'll come down there and tear you up at 168. He didn't want it. So forget about the weight. Forget about the weight. He got punched up. So Bival was another level above Canelo, essentially. It was levels in that fight. The problem with Bival is, though, yes, he performed great under the lights when it mattered. But the problem with him, though, is he can be... Beterbiev is, if not getting better, he's consistent. Devastatingly consistent. Bival, though, he underwhelms, goes life and death with Craig Richards, and then looks good against this guy, and looks great against Canelo. It's more, if Bival has a bad night, and bear in mind, if you're having a bad night against Craig Richards, what do you think happened when Beterbiev on your ass? So Bival has the ability to not have a good night and not look red hot. That's a fact. And that's with someone in front of him who ain't really keen. Beterbiev keen. So we know that. We know that's in him to not look great. Although recent history, that's definitely been more convincing in terms of his consistency. He looked good against Ramirez. He looked good against Canelo. He looked good against that last guy, although he got caught a lot. When he was exchanging, he did get caught. He stopped the guy, that Zinad. But Zinad ain't no Beterbiev. He did get caught. And I'm telling you now, Joe Smith Jr. Joseph Smith Jr. is no good. Beterbiev blow his ass back out, man, for real. Blow his back right out. And Bival got clocked. It's boxing. You get hit. I'm taking Beterbiev as the underdog. That's for damn sure. If Beterbiev was a decent favourite, I wouldn't have touched it with a barge pole. But as an underdog, I'm taking that all day. I'm going with the power. Because Beterbiev can box as well. What are you going to do with him? I'm trying to think, actually. Well, look at the Vosdik fight. How close was the Vosdik fight, actually, on points? The Vosdik fight... And Vosdik at the time was undefeated as well, apparently. Yeah, he must have been. Vosdik was undefeated as well at the time. So this ain't no washed up Vosdik that Benavidez went life and death with. You understand? This is a fresh Vosdik. So Vosdik was in the 10th round, not the 11th like I thought it was. Oh wow. Oh wow, people. So in the 10th round, 2 judges had Vosdik winning at that point. So Beterbiev can be outboxed. I did watch that Vosdik fight back though. And in fact, I watched the Callum Johnson fight as well. Yeah, look. I watched the Callum Johnson fight. Beterbiev's actually improved. He's not the same as he was in the Callum Johnson fight and the Vosdik fights. He seems to have come into his final form. This last little run, Callum Smith, Yard in particular, and Joe Smith, these 3 here, he's coming to his own. He knows what he's doing. Why do I say this? Watch the Callum Johnson fight back. And Beterbiev is actually going backwards towards the ropes. I've never seen it before. Let me see if I can bring it up as an example. And Callum Johnson's a big puncher, but that's not what Beterbiev does. Beterbiev don't go back for no one like that. Callum. So it felt to me like he was still finding who he is. He was trying to box more, and he was giving Callum Johnson time to breathe. And Johnson wasn't. It's not like, yes, Johnson put him down, but Johnson wasn't overwhelming him and laying it on thick. Johnson, most of the time, was just standing there with his hands up, kind of touching forward, and Beterbiev was back around. Beterbiev was boxing with Callum Smith, and that's not what Beterbiev does well. Look, you can see here, look. You've got Callum Smith standing there with his hands up. Sorry, Callum Johnson, like I said, standing there with his hands up, and Beterbiev is going towards the ropes. And this guy, I'm telling you now, watch it yourself. This guy was not throwing, and this is before the knockdown. Look at all the clips. All the clips, you see Beterbiev, the one towards the corner, or toward the ropes. There's one example there. But yeah, look, Beterbiev's on the outside of the ring. Beterbiev outside of the ring. You'd never see that now. You'd never see Beterbiev outside of the ring. You wouldn't see this no more. So that's why I say, in these fights, so that you had Callum Johnson, he didn't look great in that one. Vosdik, he didn't look great in that one. I need to rewatch it actually and see, was he really trying to box with Vosdik, or was he sticking it on him? But these last three, he come out like he knows exactly what he's doing. I never saw, even when Callum Smith would put points of trying to work in, I never saw in this last fight Beterbiev kind of backing up and going around the outside of the ring and giving Callum Smith the centre of the ring. It's like he's found his feet now and he knows, I'm taking the centre of the ring and I'm sticking it on you. And you can meet me in the centre of the ring, or you're going back to the ropes. He's not going back to the ropes no more. That's what I've witnessed. So I like, essentially, we're seeing both fighters in their prime. Let's have a look here. Let me see if we can, Beterbiev versus Vosdik. Let's see if we can just get a feel for the fight. I'm not going to play the footage, but if he's boxing the same as the Callum Johnson fight, he's just faffing around, not getting on it. No, it doesn't look as... I need to watch it, obviously, in more detail. But it makes sense. He's clearly grown, is the point. Yeah, Callum Johnson, that was whack. He's growing, he's growing, he's growing. He's rock hard now. He's got an 8-inch, foot-long dong right now. And Bival, he toast. I don't think he gets knocked out, but he might get knocked out. He might get punched up. He might get punched up. Not my base case is points, though. This fight sucked as well. Let's not forget that, actually. Yeah? Bival looked great against Alvarez and Ramirez. He went life and death with Lyndon Arthur, though, man. Life and death. This fight sucked, man. This fight sucked. Couldn't get rid of Lyndon Arthur. Underwhelming. So, intriguing, though. 50-50. Anyway, folks, let me know your thoughts. In fact, no, you know what? Let me look at the comments group before I ski. Yeah, Bival landed 9 punch combos against Lyndon Arthur and still couldn't finish him, yeah. Bival does slap. Bival does slap around. And Lyndon Arthur even commented on this situation and said, Bival can't punch. That's what Lyndon Arthur said, he can't punch. Bival punches like a girl. Can't stand that boring tap-tap run style. Yeah, he has... Bival's not... He's not like Billy Joe Saunders or Willie Hutchinson, but usually to generate power, you want your feet planted. Bival was kind of skipping in, skipping out, so he never planted, so you're just tapping around, and he kind of hops in and slaps around and hops out. That's his focus. He can win boxing matches. He can't go for stoppages. The argument is, though, who's really come to stand in front of Bival, though? So the argument, oh, well, they're like, Canelo was right in front of him. And he didn't put the hammer down. And Beterbiev's so much more devastating. Canelo's easy to outbox because he throws big singles, big doubles. You can punch after his... Canelo, yeah, likes to wrap up, tuck up, plod forward, and then whack one or two off, and then spend a minute resetting. So after Canelo has no second and third phase most of the time. Yeah, he has one attack, and then he's having a look and wants a rest. So what Bival would do, he'd tuck up. The minute Canelo starts punching, he's having a go on him. Counter punching in between Carrot Top's big shots, or he waits until Canelo's finished answering, and he gets his own shots off. And Carrot Top's like, whoa, Carrot Top has conversational fights. He likes to plod around, get his shots off, wait for their response. If you slap him in his mouth, he don't like the pace. He can't take the pace. He needs time and patience, and he needs people to respect him. If you don't respect him, if you're trying to talk whilst he's having his conversation of punches, he gets all bent out of rhythm and bent out of shape. Whereas Beterbiev doesn't have the big singles. He's finding gaps and throwing 3, 4, 5 punches, so it's not as easy. Because you're going to get slapped about trying to punch in between, but it's fascinating. YB, he looked good against Vostik. Great body work. Never really hugely outboxed in that fight. Bival in and out too quick. Skills pay the bills in the sport of boxing. I don't. I've heard this narrative. A lot of people are saying, well, Beterbiev hasn't got skills. You're bugging, man. Beterbiev has good footwork. His balance is phenomenal. The way he's able to remain calm, even when he was getting clocked by Anthony Yard, even when he got put down by Callum Johnson, he gets up, keeps his composure, and keeps plugging on, chugging forward. Underrated, if I'm honest. He doesn't get scared to death and start running backwards and completely lose his head like AJ versus Ruiz. You can't say he's not skilled. He's delusional. To be able to knock that many men out, you're delusional if you think he ain't got skills. Bival's the one you can question with the skills. He might be skillful, but how good were them skills when Craig Richards was punching the head off him in the last 3 or 4 rounds, from what I remember, of Bival. And people were saying after that fight, if Craig Richards had started earlier, he might have won the fight. That's how I felt at the end of it. I felt like, whoa, if Craig Richards was able to do that for 8 rounds instead of 3 or 4, he'd have won the fight. Oops. Craig Richards would win no rounds against Beterbiev. None at all. No, I gotta be honest. I do think Bival versus Canelo was one-sided. It was a 9-3 type of fight for me. Canelo, I don't remember seeing Canelo land clean once, really, if I'm honest. I don't remember seeing any big shots land, or any shots, really. They're all peppering. Boxer always beats the puncher. Come on now. This ain't that though. This isn't trying to think of an example. Boxer versus puncher. This isn't Usyk versus AJ. AJ's not a puncher though, is he? This isn't Joe Parker versus Wilder. Come on now. Joe Parker versus Wilder, you can say, well, the boxer beats the puncher. The Beterbiev's not just a puncher. And he finds a way to get on you. The pressure is... You watch Beterbiev. He's just standing in front of you, not doing nothing, and people are having to work. That's one thing we haven't seen with Bival. Bival, traditionally, is good at holding the centre of the ring. Like, Bival isn't an Erislandy Lara, who's going to box in circles, going round outside of the ring like this, or a Billy Joe Saunders, or a Tyson Fury, who's going to box going outside of the ring all night. Bival he commands some of the centre. He's happy to go back. He's more balanced. That said, what happens if he can't command the centre of the ring? That quickly gets tiring when someone's on you and you're not used to going back. And you're thinking, oh damn, this guy on me like I robbed something. And he's steady on me. He ain't backing up. He ain't taking a breath. He's just in front of me. It's a draining type of pressure. The question is, people are saying, can Bival's jab, which Canelo did respect to a pretty high degree, can Bival's jab keep Beterbiev off balance and keep Beterbiev's pressure off? If Beterbiev gets in there and suddenly respects Bival's power, then yeah, Bival will probably win. If he doesn't know, it's over for him. It's over. If Beterbiev feels that power and says, okay, this is similar to Callum Smith, who most people would agree, punch for punch, Callum Smith is a heavier puncher than Bival. Bottom line. And Beterbiev didn't care nothing about that. I'd say Bival and Vosnik have similar levels of power. No, I'd say Bival probably has a little bit more, but those are the questions we've got right now. Certainly, again, Anthony Yarde, punch for punch, Anthony Yarde has much more power than Bival. Oops. Did Beterbiev respect that? And did Beterbiev give Anthony Yarde the centre of the ring? Nope. He was straight on him. But the jab is different to power punches. It's more destabilising. Bival doesn't necessarily have to create damage with the jab. All he has to do is keep... But Beterbiev's not... He's not Canelo. Canelo can... Even if you watched Canelo versus Kovalev, Kovalev's jab was keeping Canelo busy all night because he's got his hand stuck to his head and he's getting put off and he needs... Canelo needs the perfect punch. He needs the perfect timing. Whereas Beterbiev's, he's more fluid. He can just get in there and his hands throwing and pushing him out. Canelo's always trying to load his waist up and rip off. Whereas Beterbiev, he's just throwing them shots out. The jab's not going to bother him as much as it would someone like Canelo, who needs to plant his feet. Beterbiev doesn't have planted feet. A lot of people say, oh yeah, he's just a brawler. You're ridiculous. Beterbiev has somewhat similar footwork to Bival. He can slide in and slide out. He's not a flat-footed fighter. I don't agree with that at all. Canelo's flat-footed, not Beterbiev. So yeah, I got Beterbiev. I've talked myself into Beterbiev. You best believe it. Beterbiev by point, 6-1. That's where the bag is, folks. Clark versus Wardley, 50-50. Could go either way, man. Scrap that. Artur Beterbiev has an underrated jab, exactly. And that's another good point. People rant and rave about Bival's jab, but Beterbiev's jab isn't bad. It's more ponderous than Bival. Bival can slap out 2 or 3 of them and step in, step out. He kind of steps in, steps out. He can stab it around more. But Beterbiev's reminds me a bit like Daniel Dubois. It looks ponderous, but everyone says Beterbiev hit me with a jab and it felt like a right hand. Everybody says Dubois hit me with a jab, it felt like a right hand. So, yeah, Bival needs infinite stamina to run in and out for 12 rounds, exactly. That stuff, it takes a lot of energy. So, I mean, Bival has good conditioning, but inevitably everyone gets tired and them hands come a little bit lower and your defense gets a little bit leaky. And when you start getting tired, man, your eyes don't line up as quickly and it's one of them ones. Clark versus Wardley. I'd like to think Clark, to be honest. The way that jab was pinging off... I had Wardley in the first fight, but the way that jab was pinging off Wardley's face, he couldn't get out of the way of it, and it was just quick and accurate. I'd probably go with Clark. Clark's actually the underdog as well, so it's worth maybe putting Clark on points. Clark ain't going to knock Wardley out. Clark on points is probably 4-1, 3.5-1. So that might be the play there, but I wouldn't bet on it. Fraser has got no gas tank. And he's chinny. Chinny and no gas tank is an accident waiting to happen. I wouldn't bet on it. It's not. I'd rather take Beterbiev on points. Because even if the thing is, yeah, even if Beterbiev loses by a round or 2, you might get the robbery. That makes sense. We could have Beterbiev winning 4 or 5 rounds and he still wins the fight. Because sometimes robberies can go the other way though, right? Beterbiev could win by 3 or 4. But I believe if Beterbiev has won by 2 rounds, they will have been more impactful rounds, so he's less likely to be robbed. Bival can get robbed. Yeah, Bival can get robbed because a lot of his shots people don't respect. He doesn't get the judges hard. But if Beterbiev wins a round, everyone's rock hard for it. People naturally lean with the power, so you got the robbery on your side with Beterbiev. And politically speaking, there's no real advantage for someone to give the fight to Bival over Beterbiev. If anything, I think Beterbiev, he's one of them. I think Beterbiev's Muslim, so that's an in-house dude. Yeah, we know Bival got put on or got to fight that Libyan cat. So again, the establishment, his turbulency, you'd think he'd be leaning towards people. How's dude? Yeah, Kovalev was washed and alcoholic and was still. Yeah, Kovalev was 45-year-old and he was jabbing the head off Carrot Top, but it wasn't. Kovalev was lacking spite. He was boxing too much. So I do believe Canelo deserved to knock Kovalev out because Kovalev wasn't committing. He was just flapping around with a jab. He wasn't drilling it in like he used to. Anyway, people, I'm out of here. Smash the like button on your way out, and I'll catch you next week. You best believe it, 100%. Oh, that's the wrong button. Deal. And